First you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow.
You've got 3 seconds for it.
I'm gonna amp this baby up, see how it sounds.
FakeChef.net, that is our name. My name is Glenn.
I'm Jarret.
And we're here to record a very special audio commentary for the absolutely classic and undervalued.
People Under the Stairs.
What year was that, mate?
1991.
Awesome. And that was directed by Wes Craven.
Written by Wes Craven as well, sir.
Which he hasn't written many films.
No, not well. This is when he used to write and direct, not just direct, not just a gun for hire.
And I think most of you will have seen it. If you're a genre fan, you won't have missed it. And we're going to get stuck into it. So what should people do if they want to join us in this commentary?
Well, when the Universal logo comes up, that's when we'll start talking. So load it up, get ready to go, because we're ready to go right now.
And there we go, there's the beautiful Universal logo. I like that one they did that time when they celebrated the was it 50th anniversary and they had all the different ones.
And had all the different logos
really
all
cool.
up. It's pretty cool. Well, yeah, it was the 100th anniversary last year. 2014 marked the 100th anniversary of Universal Pictures.
Well, then it definitely
Was
wasn't.
it?
Then it
Maybe it was the
definitely
year
wasn't.
before. Maybe it's 2013.
Then it definitely wasn't the 50th anniversary one.
No, that was a long time ago. In fact, neither of us were around for the 50th.
No. A Wes Craven film.
And indeed, a real Wes Craven film, written and directed.
And look at that, the titles are green, whereas the title treatment on the posters is red.
Yeah, and it's got that kind of fractured, distressed look, the title treatment on the poster.
No, I don't like the green. I don't like the font that they've used.
No, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm glad that they went for something different with the concept artwork for theatrical and home ed.
So how did you first come across this film?
Well, there was actually a magazine that used to be published in Australia, similar to Fangoria. From memory, I think its name was Terror Zone. Not Gore Zone, not the American one, but Terror Zone it was called. And it was published, I think, from around 91 through to about 92. And it had an article on the film. And I'd read a little bit about it in Fangoria as well. But, there was a bit of a centre focus, and I was psyched for the film when it finally came out, which was... Just trying to think now, it was 1992. We got it about 5 months after the US, like in those good old days, but at least it went theatrical.
Well, it was released on November 1, 1991 in the States.
In the US. And I think we got it about maybe April 9 or thereabouts. And when we got it theatrically, the same day, Chevy Chase, John Carpenter, Memoirs of Invisible Man opened. So I had to choose which one to see. Well, only one of them was showing at the drive-in, so my sister and I piled in the car and she took me to see it. I would have been 11 at the time. Just on the cusp of turning 12, and she was 7 years older, so...
That is a cool movie to see at the drive-in.
It was really cool. I can't remember what we saw as the second feature. I just remember that this was the reason why we went to the drive-in.
Flowers in the attic.
yes, we were eating
the people
parsnip on
upstairs.
toast.
The people above the stairs.
Very cool, though. And look, we dug the film. It was a lot of fun. I used to go to the drive-in a fair bit back in the day, particularly with my sister. This was only rated M.
Hey,
so
look,
she
there's
hadn't
Michael
seen
Jackson.
M. It is, a little Michael Jackson. He was in Moonwalker.
And the bad. Michael Scorsese directed Bad video clip.
There you go, yeah.
Was he in the Weird Al one?
I don't think so.
That? I think he was.
Was he?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know, you have to check IMDb for that one. He was in the Sandlot, or as it was known in Australia, the Sandlot Kids.
Yes.
He was the token black kid.
Correct.
Great film, though. Classic, childhood classic.
He plays Fool in this.
Yes. Brendan, what's his name? Brendan
Quinton Adams.
Quinton Adams.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I first saw the film on home entertainment when it first came out, back in the days when I was raiding my video store. It's kind of cover that you can't kind of go past. It really
Great
affected
artwork.
me as a kid. That was amazing.
Now, we mentioned earlier that the artwork isn't that representative of the content of the film. Like, I mean, the house, the imagery of the house is there,
Yeah.
but the skull...
The skull doesn't really have any relevance.
No, it's somewhat familiar to Fright Night. Did you ever think of that? Like, the artwork Fright Night, it's got, like, kind of the, skull, like...
Going for the
sort of thing.
over-looming kind of...
Yeah,
I
over
get
the
it,
neighbourhood. It's good artwork, it's striking.
Hey, look, there's Ving
Stands out in
Rhames.
video store.
Ving Rhames. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames. That's how I say it.
Marcellus Wallace.
Yes. I heard somebody else pronounce his name differently the other day, so I sort of thought, have I been saying it wrong all these years?
It wasn't Christophe Lambert, was it?
Yeah. So yeah, I saw it on home video, and I think I told you earlier before we started recording that the other movie that struck me with a similar cover was Stephen King's Graveyard Shift.
Oh yeah, very
Like,
cool. They were coming around the same time, you know.
Yeah, they
were
were.
about 90. Well, this would have been 92 on video, and that would probably been about 93, I reckon. Yeah.
So marketing-wise, it was obviously a very effective kind of tool to put that
Put a
sort
skull
of
on it.
image above it. Yeah.
Skulls. What kids don't like skulls?
And there we go, Everett McGill.
Everett McGill. It's funny too because you got Everett McGill and Wendy
Roby,
Roby,
yeah.
who were both from Twin Peaks, and they were in this movie together again, which is weird because apparently Wes Craven wasn't aware of them being in Twin Peaks. He'd known of Twin Peaks, hadn't seen it at the time, and they came into
Wow, see, I was going to come to the conversation with something completely contradictory to that.
Well, this is coming from Wes Craven's lips.
Wow, there, I'll take that over IMDb any day. The trivia does say that Wes Craven saw them on Twin Peaks and cast them because of their dynamic. Either way, it's pretty cool. They do definitely have a report.
And she was the log lady, wasn't she?
No, she was
the
the cotton balls.
Oh, yes. It's been a number of years since I watched Twin Peaks.
She was the, no, I don't think she was schizophrenic, but she was manically depressant.
Right.
And, suicidal.
Yeah.
And he was the ever-loving service station.
Yes.
The Twin Peaks
Yes.
servo.
Gas station. And this is
This is
downtown
Do the Right
Los
Thing. We're
Angeles.
suddenly watching Do the Right Thing.
Yes. Oh, well, that was Brooklyn, dude.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I see where, you've made the mistake because there's people of, ethnicity. But now, funny thing is that obviously this film was shot in about 1990. Actually, it was released late 91, and I remember reading that it was shot really, really quick. It was like pretty much shot, edited, and prepared within less than 6 months before it went out theatrical, which means it was shot in 91, so this was probably shot just prior to the race riots in downtown LA.
Okay.
What was the chap's name again? The LAPD beat down?
Rodney
King. Rodney King, yeah. So I guess it's topical.
Mind you, it is mostly soundstage, I'm sure.
Well, no, yeah, all the interiors are soundstage, but all the exteriors were actually shot in downtown LA, except for the house. Where you see the house, that's in one of the richest suburbs of
Well, that's even still,
Los
that's quite
Angeles.
amazing because it does look like a backlot.
It does look very backlotty.
Yeah.
You take a trip down any, studio and they've got that street that looks like, New York. They've got the street that looks like, ghetto LA. But yeah, all the interiors are definitely all soundstage. But as I believe that, the exteriors, the street and the house were live locations. Ving Rhames has stayed the same age for about 20 more years. He doesn't have the hair anymore, but he's wearing a hat during the most of this movie for the small portion.
You could put that hat on him in Piranha and you would not know.
No. Now get me my leg. Did you see Piranha 3 Double D?
I
It wasn't
did.
a great
I
sequel.
liked it, man.
But it has some good moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, what's his name? John Gallagher, is it?
Yeah.
The guy that did the Feast movies.
And he's
the son of Clue.
Of course, which is
From
why
Return of
Clue
the
was
Dead.
in the bloody
And
movies.
obviously, yeah.
He's got some other stuff coming up, actually.
I saw Zombie Night. Not great.
I think he's doing
That was
Halloween.
almost like an asylum type
Halloween
film.
3?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's the two dudes that wrote Feast that are doing it.
Right.
Yeah, the guys that wrote the Feast movies, and then they did the Collection and the Collector, and they did a couple of Saw sequels. But yeah, I'm psyched for that. That's the one we spoke about. It's not a reboot. It's a what are they calling the new Halloween?
Oh shit, that's
A
right.
calibration.
Yeah. Oh man, we actually posted a little
Interesting
blog on that one.
terminology. Interesting. Now, let me ask you early in the piece, before we get into too much action, what would be your favourite Wes Craven film? Because he made a lot of great films.
That is true. Well, I mean, it sounds pretty corny, but Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, is about the be all and end all for me because it's iconic and it's about as good as horror gets in my eyes.
Classic.
But outside of that, I don't know. I think there's a lot of underrated films. I know I definitely definitely hate my soul to take. That is just as
Yeah.
bad as horrors get. It's the complete polar opposite.
I only watched it
Nightmare.
once. It was really him going after that kind of same mythos of Nightmare on Elm Street, kind of like he did with Shocker as well, where he was trying to create a character. I mean, I don't think that was the intention, obviously, with Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't think there was the intention to create a franchise at that point.
Speaking of remakes, he wanted to remake The People Under the Stairs and
Yes.
Shocker.
Yeah.
But I think the dismal performance of Last House on the Left, I think, is
That was great, though. That remake
yeah, it was,
really good.
but it didn't
Yeah.
perform very well. And I
Well, I have heard something contradictory, sir.
think, okay, well,
It-
full of contradictions.
Apparently, he wanted to do the People Under the Stairs remake first, before he did the Hills of Eyes remake, before
Yeah.
the Last House remake. But because there was too many entities involved with the production of the film, like Universal, Alive Films, who produced this movie and come to Wes about doing the movie and did a 2-picture deal with Shocker,
Yep.
and himself, never the three parties could ultimately agree, so they couldn't do the People Under the Stairs. And they had all the rights to do the Hills and Last House on the Left, so they went and did those two films
Right.
first, and obviously it led to them
Yeah.
doing the amazing reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a great reboot. We'll save that discussion for a podcast.
All right.
But yeah, look, I don't
So
think it's out of the
many
question.
contradictions tonight.
Yeah, too many. But I don't think it's out of the question that they could do a remake
Of
of this
course.
down the track. I mean, it's socially relevant in that period, but I think this film is relevant still, regardless. The sharp division between economic class in the United States, like having the poor and having the wealthy,
Yeah.
benefiting from the poor staying poor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you go to the US, you see that sharp division everywhere you go. You see one street, there's money,
Yeah.
and then on the corner of that, there's a dude with a cardboard sign,
Right.
willing to do absolutely anything for a bit of coin just to get a fee. And look, that's the first time we see Sean Whalen as Roach.
Roach. Such a great name for the character too.
Totally stays with you. I always remember the name Roach more than his actual actor name, Sean Whalen. And so every time I see him in things, I'm like, it's Roach.
I'm sure
Roach.
I will forget his name even during this.
I'm trying to say it as many
Okay.
times as I can. So
Okay, I'm talking about his real.
remember
What's his
it.
real name?
Sean Whalen.
Yeah.
But I was going to mention AJ Langer, who plays the young girl Alice in the film. She was, I think, 17 or just on 17 when she shot the film. Looks a lot younger.
Yeah. I mean, she's on screen not right now. That's Roby and McGill, but we're looking at her now.
Now we're looking at her. She's pretty, pretty little
Yeah.
girl. Just perfect, embodiment of innocence. This is a weird sort of scene because
Yeah,
it
it is.
alludes to the fact that there's almost like a sexual kind of thing there, strangely.
Okay,
And
that
they-
doesn't look like a
you know.
backlot, but it does kind of look like a fake house.
No, they're all real.
Yeah.
These are rich properties, yeah.
There's Vanilla Ice.
I thought it was Ice-T. Looks
Oh,
like he's
Figure
readying
it out.
himself for
Yeah.
a role on Law and Order. Straight out of Compton and onto the harsh streets of New York. Now, young Brendan would have been, I think, around... He's 35 now, so I think he would have been about 10 or 11 when he shot this film.
yeah.
About the same age I was, so...
Look at that
Seeing
shot.
it.
How many directors have used that shot?
Oh, totally.
That's the Burbs right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, funnily enough, another Universal Pictures film that's shot on the same lot of Universal Studios. Only a couple of years prior. Love this too. This family, as the film plays on, you realise how wealthy they are, but how distressed the house is.
Yeah.
This is the house they're living in. They own all these properties and they're making all this money off the poor people. But the house they're living in, they can't even, really maintain. Doorbell doesn't work. Understand,
But
they
assuming,
don't want to make it look too good in a bad neighborhood.
we will also assume that everyone listening to this has seen it before. So
Yeah, well,
it's a slaughterhouse.
totally.
So it's
Totally.
not going to be up to snuff.
No, but you almost want to give it a slight impression that nothing
Yeah.
untoward's going on inside.
That's true.
But I guess it is, it's that neighborhood where, things,
And hey,
need
it
to
looks
look new.
cool on screen.
Totally.
There's even got a swamp.
How about that? Boy Scouts. Did you ever do any of that sort of Cub
I did.
Scouts? or
I did
anything?
1 day of Cubs.
I think I went along to one of those days where my friends were members and they brought me along to see what I'd think. I don't like it.
Yeah, man.
Some
I loved it
competition
because I love the movies with the Scouts in.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like the wrong Guys, I think it was called.
The Wrong Guys.
Yeah, that's a Scouts movie.
Right.
Follow Me Boys, all that kind of stuff.
Who just goes to camp? I know it's just camp.
It doesn't matter, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a cub and I got my dad to take me.
Right.
Day one, first time, walked in, didn't get a knife. Fuck that.
Did
I was
they
done.
tie some ropes though?
Not on that day. Day one, it's just let's all sit in a circle and talk about each other.
Oh man, sounds like therapy. Group therapy.
I'm pretty sure it was.
You need that after being in the Cubs because that's when a lot of kids get sexually abused. I'm just joking,
Wildly
but I imagine it happens. Yeah. It happens. I can say that I went to a Catholic school and there was a lot of sexual predators there.
Yes.
I was never molested, but I know people. My maths teacher, he was a sexual predator. I saw it on the news when we were at schoolies. Yeah, there you go.
Wheelchair's taking a real...
Well, we're waiting for something interesting to happen. At the moment,
Yeah.
poor old Brendan's getting his shirt off, so it's best to allude to talking about sexual predators.
We're on at this moment
Yeah.
when everybody's watching the screen.
Yeah. Don't get any ideas.
I had a pair of glasses like that.
Like the John Lennon style kind
Sort
of
of.
glasses.
Mine were a different colour, I can't remember. It was probably black.
Right. Oh, so, I never mentioned what my favourite Wes Craven film was.
I didn't ask you.
No, you didn't.
Well,
I asked you.
what
I
is
figured
it?
you were going to ask me.
Well, I was trying to think of others other than like Ronell Street,
Right.
but I really couldn't. I think they're all on par with each other, but I do like some of these
Great
lesser ones,
movies.
even like Vampire Brooklyn.
I'm going to order that this weekend. There's a sale that's happening at a major Australian retailer. And it's on sale at the moment for $4.98. But if I can get 20% off that, then that's
Was
a
it
steal.
on DVD?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's going to come
yeah.
out. Well, it might come out on Blu-ray one day, but
It's not worth
no
buying
time
on Blu-ray,
soon.
that's for sure.
I haven't seen it for years. But funnily enough, I did watch an interview with Wes Craven talking about Vampire in Brooklyn. And it was Eddie that approached Wes Craven about doing the film.
I did read that.
I wanted to do the film, but guess what Eddie said to Wes Craven? I want to do a monster movie. I want to do a horror movie. But guess what? Guess what he didn't want to do?
A comedy.
Yeah, he didn't want to do fun. He didn't want to be funny.
Unbelievable.
How many times is he going to fuck these horror directors? Well, I mean, Landis not a horror director. He's a comedy director.
But
But
I'll
he's,
tell you what, don't start me on Eddie Murphy.
all right, we won't go there.
Yeah.
So we're getting back to my favourite Craven film. It's hard to say. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street is definitely up there. But I think, in all honesty, my favourite may be The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Of his better known work, but I think his most underrated film for me is one of his more accomplished films that's completely underrated is Serpent and the Rainbow.
I knew you were going to say
Love
that.
it. I saw that at the movies too. I went to see that when it came out as 7 or 8. My dad and I went to see the movies. Back then you could smoke in a cinema. So my old man was chopping away on cigarettes. He had the form guide, a torch, and a little radio, like a transistor radio,
Oh, for Christ's
and was
sake,
listening
yeah.
into the
Oh
races.
my God.
And then toward the end he was drifting off and had to keep waking. Dad, are you watching? Are you watching? But still, I see Serpent and the Rainbow on the big screen. But yeah, I love that film. I
It is
think
a
as
good
I get
film,
older, I enjoy it more. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a cool film.
I haven't watched that in a while. I might have to do
It's
it.
getting a UK Blu-ray release pretty soon too. So
I actually really like Red Eye. I watched that again recently.
I like that too.
Yeah.
I think that's really
You know what I
underrated.
like about it the most? It's so short and snappy.
It's,
Like, it's just
so yeah,
fast-paced.
absolutely. Like honestly, the time spent on the plane isn't that long, and then it ties up rather nicely. But yeah, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Very underrated piece of his latter day work. And Cillian Murphy's terrific in it. And Rachel McAdams, before she was, it was off the back of Mean Girls, but
Yeah.
before she was Notebook Rachel McAdams.
It's probably the film that gave her the credibility, really, as a serious actress.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Did anyone see Red Eye except for us? The poster art was so good for that film. Like the one
Yeah,
with the hand
it's
in
great.
the window, the one with like her hand and his hand on top, like kind of holding it there. But yeah, he was very smooth and charismatic, but then ultimately quite an asshole.
Here we go. The A-Team has arrived.
Now, I mentioned before that this was part of a two-picture deal. It was Shep Gordon who ran Alive Films and approached Wes Craven to do a film and offered basically a two-picture deal, which was Shocker, which was made first, which was in '89, and that was through Universal, and then later this in '91, People Under the Stairs. And the reason Wes Craven actually accepted the deal was it was the first time he'd ever been offered final cut on a film. So he got final cut on People
right.
Under the Stairs, but also got final cut on Shocker, which I don't know if that really helped, because Shocker for me, I don't know, I never really loved Shocker.
I
think I like the
Shocker
horror
better.
show better than
Probably,
Shocker.
yeah, the horror show is
Much
way
better
better.
film. Brian James is so much more sinister.
If you don't know that one, it's also House 3. Australian.
He's banned in Queensland when it first came out, as everything was. And apparently, the other thing I was going to mention too was Wes's biggest paycheck was for People Under the Stairs. So, biggest paycheck to date at that point in time. I'm sure you
look at that headstone. How terrible is that?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
That was shit. That looks like a Halloween prop decoration.
Maybe it was.
Reject shop.
Maybe this was shot in November, early November.
I see. That sort of like kind of, African American kind of tribal kind of weird outfit. That was all the rage in the early 90s. I remember like Boys in the Hood and all of that.
Yeah.
That sort of real sort of African culture.
Rosie Perez doing a little... She's not African American, but she's
no,
doing
but she
that
was
kind
in
of
every
thing.
African American film at the time.
That's right.
Of course, Rosie Perez. We only spoke of her.
It's a poopy.
She was in Untamed Heart.
Yeah.
I got to watch White Men Can't Jump again. I haven't seen that for years. Very cool. Nice line. Ving Rhames is so terrified, dude.
Oh, did you see that? That's awesome. Bad.
That was bad puppetry, but it was on so split screen on screen for so little time. Now, I might mention that how the film actually came about, what the genesis of the story was. Apparently, it all dates back to Wes Craven having read a newspaper article.
That's how he gets all these ideas.
He does, yeah. And then they sit in his mind, and he has dreams, and they lead places. But an article that was in a Santa Monica press about an old couple who would watch The Neighborhood, and there'd been break-ins in the neighborhood attributed to African Americans. And they called the police when they saw, this pair trying to break into a house. By the time the police had turned up, the cops had already left. But the cops naturally went in because the door was open just to check that everything was all right. And they heard some noises, and they assumed it was the burglars. But in fact, no, it was two children that were locked in a room and had never been outside of the house ever. Never seen the light of day. So that had stayed in his mind, and apparently stayed in his mind for a number of years. And when he'd been working it out, had the first two parts of it down, but could never think of a final act for it. And when he was at the Berlin Film Festival, I think it was in maybe 89 or 90, he had a dream, and apparently the dream played the whole entire movie out to him, and he'd been in the habit of waking up and writing down everything he dreamt.
Yeah.
Such good practice that when he woke up, he was able to write the rest of the film, and that was that. It was written.
Awesome.
Amazing, isn't
What
it?
a story, yeah.
I want to write down my dreams so I can work out how my fucking films will end.
I read a newspaper article a few years ago. He could do People Under the Stairs Part 2, Fritzl's Lair.
Fritzl's Lair? What's that?
Fritzl? No.
Fritzl?
No.
No.
The guy that kept his daughter under the house and raped her repeatedly.
Oh, God.
Spawned a family.
Oh.
It was funny.
It's like People Under the Stairs meets Hills of Eyes.
Yeah, it was a passing comment I thought you'd
Rare.
get.
I hope some of the listeners got that one.
I'm sure they did.
I'll be kicking myself now. Because now that I know, I'll see things turn up in my Facebook feed. And I'm like, what? This happened years ago. So another thing was Wes Craven was actually raised as a fundamentalist Baptist.
Yes, he was. He hadn't actually seen a movie until he was in university.
Until he was in uni. Yeah.
Wow. And then the kind of movies he made.
Well, that's it. Apparently, he was a huge fan of art cinema because generally that's the kind of films you saw at uni, even though he wasn't studying. He was going to the local picture house, and that was like an art house, and so we saw a lot of French New Wave movies and things of that nature. But yeah, he drew a lot of inspiration from that. But you can obviously see elements of his sort of sheltered childhood in films like this and The Hills of Eyes and things of that nature. But I've also heard this film described as part of a trilogy that, The Last House on the Left is the first part, and The Hills of Eyes and The People Upstairs. Kind of marries up title-wise. Apparently Craven denies it and sort of says that's not the case, but he did sort of draw comparisons between the films. He said, they do have a very this family, that family, the outsiders versus
I don't
the
know. It's a
insiders.
bit of a stretch, I
It
reckon.
is, but then I kind of thought about it. I mean, like, you've got the good wholesome, nuclear American family going into the desert in Hills of Eyes with the good old nuclear, what would you say, mutated family of rednecks. And then you've got the families, the girls in The Last House on the Left and their families interacting with, what's his name, Krug?
Yeah.
Krug or Krug or something like that. David Hess? Yeah, David Hess's character. And then obviously you got this, the intentions.
Still a stretch. I mean, you don't immediately connect them in your mind. I don't know.
Not at all. But the titles marry up quite well.
Yeah, sure.
They're all great titles. Great titles.
I like good long titles that are descriptive. Like there's a story in the title.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool.
And now when we were Googling people under the stairs to see if we could find some fodder on YouTube to watch while we ate pizza, we did. Glenn saw there's an American hip hop band called People Under the Stairs, which I've seen a number of times, and then I'll listen to their music. I feel like we probably should have. Because do you think it's a homage to the movie? It
has to be. I mean,
no one's ever heard that phrase.
Nah, it has to be. It's obviously whether their music has any kind of thematic connection, I doubt.
I highly doubt, yeah.
But, it's not as good as Top Dog.
No, Top Dog is number one. And he's from Australia. I'll get behind that.
Represent. Interesting you chose to light that from the side. Usually they sort of go for the
down
lighting up, yeah.
Well, I guess that when you do that down lighting up, though, I know obviously you got the scenes where you're going through a dark room and you got candlelight or torchlight or something like that. But generally, when you underlight the stuff, it kind of almost creates an evil presence, and he's the good.
Yeah.
And I guess he's descending into the evil.
He could have gone from like a point of view looking down to the evil.
Maybe even backlit it, yeah. So it's just his silhouette sort of entering.
Cool. That's a cool set design right there.
Oh, it's nice, yeah. Do you remember that scene, Cabin in the Woods, when they head down to the basement and you got all manner of cool shit down there and they're just left to explore?
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish we had basements like this and that.
I lived in a basement when I was in Canada.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, my bedroom's basement and I had like my own little bathroom.
Was it Fritzl's basement?
I've got a Fritzl room in my own house. Where we dwell right now. It's where the kids go when they're naughty.
That's when he lets me out every 3 weeks to do the podcast.
Exactly.
He just feeds some films under there every time you can catch up with what's
This is
going
our
on.
focus film. Watch it.
Yeah.
See that kid purchases Soul Glow.
Oh, it's great. I love a good Soul Glow reference.
Remember Do-Rags?
Now we've referenced another Eddie Murphy and John Landis film.
There you go. Remember Do-Rags?
Do-Rags. Yeah, that was the...
It's like that stocking that they wear on there.
Yeah, totally. That's from that sort of early to mid-90s kind of era.
I guess they still wear them, but you just don't call them Do-Rags.
No, it's an awful name.
It is.
That's interesting. So it's commentary on
War
the
reference.
on the Iraq War, which was taking place at that time. I mean, the film obviously there's a lot of commentary, as we mentioned earlier, the economic divide.
Yeah, but is that a commentary? I mean, putting it on a TV screen, it's not really saying much, is it?
I think it's just probably referencing the time and place.
Yeah, it makes it a bit of a period piece.
Yeah. So it was sort of socially relevant in that era.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's a bit of a Hellraiser moment right there.
Totally.
That score.
Yeah.
And did you know there was an original score that got rejected?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
There's someone good that did the score too, wasn't it?
I'd love to hear that. That deserves its own release.
Yeah, funnily enough, on an unrelated note, the film that I will reveal completely separate to this in the podcast also, as my obscure film also had a rejected score. It's interesting how many times that sort of happens. Like, you've got a film like Ridley Scott's Legend, had the entire score composed by Jerry Goldsmith, and the studio decided to opt for the US release, I think it was the US release, they went with the Tangerine Dream soundtrack.
Right, yep.
And, the European version still retained the Jerry Goldsmith soundtrack.
And
I mean, obviously it happens in Italy with...
We mentioned on the podcast that Albert Pune's Cyborg got rescored, like Tony Ripperetti's original score was stripped, which got put back into the director's cut.
And what was the original title of the Pune version of Cyborg?
Slinger.
Slinger.
Yeah. Which he's put onto the director's cut. That's the title of the release.
Have you seen the director's cut of Cyborg, out of curiosity?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
Is it better than the theatrical version?
I think the actual story of it, like the pacing and all that, is much better.
Right.
But it's used a lot of raw footage.
Okay,
from whatever source they could get.
Right.
Which makes it a very shoddy kind of.
Makes it a bit harder.
It's an interest piece rather than an actual.
Yeah. Okay.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I love that. Anytime.
Imagine designing it. That's a tricky design to get right. Yeah.
And Sean Whalen as Roach, I mentioned earlier. This was his first feature film. He was 27 years old at the time when he got the role, and he's playing like a mid to late teen in it. He does look super young. Still now, I mean, he's in his early 50s, and you see him, he looks like he's probably, late 30s, early 40s.
Such a terrifying character and concept. I mean, that, as a kid, is just petrifying.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And to put another kid in that situation, like the victim is a kid, when you are a kid watching that.
Totally. Well, I think they're like, the Gate. In Gate, you got the guys on the walls and stuff like that, and it's really cool stuff.
To me, like I always talk about, going back to my childhood when I watch films, that's exactly it. When the character is a kid, and it's sort of put into really grown-up circumstances. I love that.
It's great. You can feel the terror through them. Because everyone's been a kid before.
Even now, watching them, it's still as effective. That car, and she's got such a 50s look about her too, eh?
Absolutely. As does he.
But he's not quite as dapper 50s as she is. Like she's
a little bit more.
She's a cartoon character.
He's a bit more gangster-esque.
Yeah.
Though I could see him sitting by the fireplace, puffing on a.
He's a scary-looking man.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's terrifying.
See him? How he was a great villain in Under Siege 2.
Was it all trained up territory?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it for years.
Very cool. Love it.
Did pick it up in a Blu-ray quad pack, I think, with Under Siege 1 and Nico Above the Law, and maybe it's just a triple pack. I think it is. He ain't yet.
Turkey brain does not get used enough. There need to be more movies where turkey brain is used. It's a good profanity.
On the topic of turkey brains, what about the new turkey baster? I saw you post something on Facebook.
I ruffled some feathers with that one.
Yeah, I wanted to read the comments, but when I clicked through, it wouldn't show me the comments.
It's all about that's not God's way.
Right, or those type of people.
For those that are listening, it was, according to a news headline,
phallic shape.
2 lesbians designed and invented a dildo which ejaculates semen, and it was a new way to artificially inseminate. Put some pleasure back into the act.
Yeah.
And I commented that it was a great idea. I thought, it takes that clinical kind of aspect out of it. But, of course, the news feeds being what they are were really ugly and horrible, and I decided to get in there and ruffle feathers.
Yeah.
Really glad you brought that up.
Well, just figured why not?
We need
it's topical.
With more of those turkey-based ejaculators.
Totally. The pictures were blurred. It's like, we don't know what they look like.
They didn't blur the shaft. They only blurred the head.
Yeah, like the head. Yeah, I know. Yeah, had like a vein going through. It's like, wow. I just think it's weird though. I mean, it makes perfect sense, sure, but it still seems strange that for the lesbian couples, they're still using like a phallic object in their sexual sort of
that was an argument that came up too.
No, I'm not saying that they shouldn't. It just seems like.
But that is
imagine if they can create some sort of like vagina with an elongated clit that's shot loads.
Yeah, but at the same time, lesbians use dildos, it's.
No, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, of course. True. What about my idea for the giant clip? Shoots loads. The squirter.
We had the squirter.
The squirter.
I'd
Gets
buy
the
it.
job done. Gets you pregnant. Which, yeah, you'd buy it. I'd buy it, but I'd fill it full of like condiments, like, you know, ketchup and you know, that sort of stuff. So if we're going to have hot dogs, I can just go,
Squeeze that clip.
allow me to squirt that for you. It serves a practical
The clip
purpose.
on the hot dog.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's like reverse.
Another contradiction.
That's good shit.
That's what I call acting.
Yeah.
We did it.
The dog as well. That dog is doing some superb acting.
If we weren't recording, I'd take that back and really focus on the dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know this isn't a major plot spoiler, but I'll say early, but
People have seen it.
yeah, they've seen it. They're listening to the commentary. So, you know, the what's perceived as the husband and wife duo are brother and sister, but they do refer to themselves as mother and father. Except at one point, she says his name.
It's just the
She
whole
reveals his name. I think his name's Eldon. I think he might only be credited as mother and father, but she goes, Eldon! But yeah, it's weird.
Is that a reference to the Chipmunks?
That's Elvin.
Yeah,
I think this one's Eldon. Oh, okay, sorry. Elvin has an elongated clip. I think Ving Rhames gets more screen time than Sean Whalen in this movie, to be honest.
Well, he definitely does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
More than meets the eye.
Fucking terrifying.
Is that a whip?
What's that?
Is that a whip on the wall? No?
No, surely that'd be concealed up in one of their hidden sort of rooms.
He's going to shit himself.
Barely needs that red, sight on the thing when he's got the torch light on.
Yeah.
The interplay between those two, their chemistry is just fantastic.
Yeah, they really should have been like a duo that made a whole lot of films at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of other Twin Peaks actors that went on to do other movies, remember, was it James Marshall? Did you ever see that film Gladiator with Cuba Gooding Jr., the boxing movie? I like that movie. I haven't seen it for like a decade, but I like that movie.
It went on to a few things, I think.
James Marshall, he turned up in a few things. And the one that played... Hang on, was James Marshall... Did he play Bobby Briggs? Was that the name of his character?
It was Bobby, for sure.
Yeah. And the other guy, Dana, whatever his name is, he was in Twin Peaks. He went on... prior to Twin Peaks, he did Return of the Living Dead too.
Yep.
Dana something or other. I mean, Sherilyn Finn went on to do stuff.
Well, James Marshall was in Soccer Dog, the movie.
Wow. There you go. I've seen the slick for that one. Never seen the film though. Did they do a number of those films? Like they did the Soccer Dog.
Like the Buddies movies.
Yeah, they did. They did
about 3 or 4.
Like a World Cup one or something like that.
Yeah.
Gladiator.
I think on IMDb it says he's in A Few Good Men.
Yes, he was. Yes,
Yeah,
because
he
was. That's another pairing with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
But he was one of the boys
he testifies, doesn't he?
What's that?
Does he testify? Is there a court?
He was one of the boys that carries out the code red on Lieutenant Santiago.
Right, cool.
Did you? Da. Yes. And yeah, he has a bit of an emotional breakdown. But yeah, a few of the actors did go on to do some. I mean, Kyle MacLachlan was doing
James
heaps of shit
Hurley, I
before
think his
that.
name was James Hurley.
James Hurley.
Bobby was the other one.
Bobby Briggs was the one that Dana played. He was on the motorcycle.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, hang on. Was James
Yeah, it was
Marshall the one
Dan
with the
Ashbrook.
motorcycle? Dan Ashbrook. Which one was the one with the motorcycle?
Dan Ashbrook.
Yes. Dan Ashbrook.
No, it wasn't.
No, that was the other one.
Yes.
James Marshall had the
Yes, it
motorcycle.
was.
Yeah.
And he had that really
'Cause he was a bit of a
weepy-looking
bad
face. He's
boy,
always
didn't he?
sad. He was
Yeah,
on
he
the
did.
run.
Like,
He was Everett McGill's nephew. Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's all coming back to me.
Full circle.
Like Celine Dion.
We can relax.
Totally. So yeah, some of the Twin Peaks people that went on to things, you know. Yeah. There's a couple of people.
Will they all come back?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. But is that kind of a series that needs to come back? Is it better to be left?
Well, it is
as-
because it was implied in the original
I
series.
know, but was that just a throwaway sort of line more than...
Well,
Does it
whether
need
it
to
was or
happen?
wasn't, it can be done legitimately
Do we need
because it's so weird. Yes, we do need
Oh,
it
okay.
because there's
I'm
never a
curious.
better time for it. You know, television's so good right now with
It
so
is
many
true.
big series that Twin Peaks could do with that re-imaging. You know,
Yeah, and Lynch needs it too.
does he ever?
Yeah. So Lynch is actually going to be in Australia pretty soon. He's going to be doing, in fact, this month. Anyone that's listening to this later on, that's March 2015. He's going to be in Brisbane doing I think, a spoken word type of event. And they're screening a few of his films, and I think doing a bit of retrospective on his art and probably his music. The guy's doing everything. But
He's always had cool hair.
he has, yeah. So like AJ Langer, apparently her and Wendy Roby, they still stay in contact today.
Right.
I saw an interview with AJ Langer and she mentioned
It's
that.
pretty hot these days too. AJ Langer.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a really nice photo. I'm not going to say any bad, 'cause imagine if she listened. Like, I mean, yeah, she's pretty, but you know.
Pretty hot these days.
Yeah. Apparently she's a big fan of Wes Craven. She followed his career, I assume, you know, after the film. I'm not sure if she was super aware of him prior. But she actually believes in the importance of genre cinema too. So it's always cool.
Well, I guess when a genre film's your own really big movie.
Yeah, well, what else did she do? Tell us, Glenn. Have a look.
Yeah, you've
tell us
got
what
the
she did.
computer in front of me. Meet the Deedles.
Oh, yes, that had an awesome soundtrack.
I love that film. That's
Yeah.
a massive guilty
Weezer's
pleasure for
on that
me.
soundtrack, I'm sure. Or Ash. I
What
can't remember
else?
one of the
What
other.
else? Escape from LA.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've got to rewatch
But
that.
that's like she's only got a handful to her name. So when
Oh.
your biggest film is People Under the Stairs, of course you're going to say how
I'm
awesome.
surprised she never went on to anything bigger because in this she's fantastic.
Of course.
And she's pretty.
But it means that if she goes to conventions, this is the one film she's stuck with.
Totally.
Of course she's going to say genre's important. Of course she's going to say
Well,
Wes
yeah.
Craven's a legend.
Yeah, of course.
If her career had died after this, which I guess it did, but if it was like, you know,
Yeah.
really drastic, would he still be the legend, do you think?
Yeah, true.
Look at that, the GIMP has come out, Ving Rhames, where are you?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that earlier
Yeah.
in the film too, yeah.
That is just so weird.
It is a weird...
I referred to the whip in the closet before.
Yes.
There was a whip. Said stupid. It's just so unnecessary, isn't it?
What's that?
To be in the GIMP costume. Like, it's terrifying because it's
Oh,
unnecessary.
yeah, absolutely. But
He
they
just
are,
found-
they are
He
twisted.
just found an urge to go and put it on.
They're twisted individuals. They're brother and sister, and they're procreating.
But they're not.
Like, how
yeah.
soundproofed is the house? Like, for him to be
Yeah.
shooting off a shotgun blast. I mean, we've seen the proximity they are to next door, and it's pretty
It's
reasonable.
either very, very soundproof or they just didn't think that through.
I'd say it has to be soundproofed. I'm going to give Wes the
Benefit of the
benefit
doubt
of the
there.
doubt on this one, yeah.
And we saw all the contraptions, so clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. The place is so dilapidated.
And yet so technologically,
Absolutely.
it's spiffy.
He must be like a bit of a maverick with this shit because you could be bringing people from the outside to do this work for you.
No, this is it.
Yeah,
They don't strike you as the kind of people that could create that kind of
No.
technology. Yummy.
That looks pretty cool, that prosthetic hand. You know, the special effects for this were it was Greg Nicotero and his team.
Now, is this going to be someone recognisable?
I don't think so.
Just a couple of bit players?
Just a couple of dicks.
But he's tiptoeing.
I know. He's going to let
Soundproof
shotgun
my
blast. I'll just sneak in there.
Mind you, she's on a PA.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, I know. Grab something and smash the window, little fella.
The one next to him's open. Now it's not.
Is it? Surely not.
This is surely a role that should have gone to Clint Howard.
Yeah.
Is somebody bothering you, ma'am?
That dog's just finished chewing that hand.
And he wants another. I've got to say, those lines there really bother me.
Which lines?
The ones where she gets all serious and
She
throws
leaves
the little suggestions at them. Smells about 12.
Yeah.
Poor dog.
Yeah, I'm just watching this. It's terrifying. Ah.
Oh
yeah.
How good's that?
That looked good too. It's just on screen long enough
Yeah.
for it to work.
And the sound effect. Oh.
That's cool. Well, I like the amount of times that Everett gets smacked in the head.
Yeah.
His movie's quite good, and him just really over the top comical fashion. So I wouldn't say the film is in any way a black comedy, but it does have some comical moments.
I
in it,
would.
you
I
know.
would definitely say it's a black
Really?
comedy. Yeah, because I've always thought it was funny.
I think it's got funny moments, but I wouldn't say the whole.
No,
thing
I think
of
the whole
movie,
tone of it is comical. Remember I was saying before that she's a sort of a comic character.
Who's that? The When You
The
Roby character?
Wendy Roby. Like, to me, she's always sort of been comical. Look at that, that's comical.
No, this whole
Yeah.
bit up until pretty much when Roach dies, and then after that, I think it completely loses the humour about it until the finale. And the finale
I
has
don't know, man. I do perceive it as a dark comedy. Definitely horror.
I think it's got comic elements, but yeah, I wouldn't go as far to say comedy. But I'd say out there of all of the Wes Craven films he's done, I'd say that, you know, the only other films that have come close to kind of him is the Scream films, you know. I wouldn't say Nightmare on Elm Street's the first one wasn't really all a comedy, you know. What's that?
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Doesn't that-
For reasons not intended,
Yeah.
released by Eddie. The last film Wes Craven directed was Scream 4
Yeah.
back in 2011.
He did another book, I think, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Okay. He's doing this.
But it's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I was fortunate enough in 2012 that I was in New York with the wife, and we were at the New York Horror Film Festival, and they were doing a presentation to Wes Craven, a Lifetime Achievement Award. So we bought tickets and went along, and it was reasonably small sort of theatre, and it was like a Q&A with Wes Craven, and then people answered, asked some questions, and he discussed some of the films that you don't really hear him talk about that often, like People Under the Stairs, Serpent and the Rainbow, Deadly Blessing. Some of my favourite films he is. In fact, Deadly Blessing is up there as one of my favourite films. He's also with Michael Berryman from The Hills of Mars. But he is just such an articulate, intelligent, well-spoken, and I mean, you know that, you hear him in the interviews, and more often than not, you hear him say the same things. So it's good to hear him talk about all these other films that rarely get the time that they deserve. But he also, he's had a few health issues in the last 5 odd years. Yeah, he had issue where he was near going blind, had to have an operation in his eyes, and then something happened to one of his legs. I think he was in an accident for that, and that took a fair bit of time for rehabilitation. So he's been in the wards the last couple of years, so it's understandable he hasn't been really out there directing any films. But that said, we're due. It's 4 years now. We're due.
Definitely. I mean, when he did the Scream 4, it was supposed to be the first of a new trilogy.
Right.
And that's not happened. I mean, it was terrible. It was a bad mistake. It was a
It
bad
was the
calculation.
worst of the franchise.
To be making that film was not a good idea.
No. The worst of the franchise. Yeah.
Surely it was only done for payback, because he was clearly
I'd
done
say
with the
so.
series after number 3.
I think so. I think it was a good bookend. But 4 was a bit disappointing. Now the series is actually becoming a TV series. I think this year that it's premiering on MTV as a television series, and I think Wes Craven's got no involvement.
Who knows? Maybe if he comes back, he might do the remakes that he was talking about.
Produce the remakes of his films.
Or direct.
Yeah.
Maybe if he
I
directed
don't
them.
know. Yeah, I don't know about directors coming
He
back.
could pull off a remake of Swamp Thing.
Well, that film's in dire need of being
Yes.
made properly. But no,
That's-
honestly, I haven't watched it for a number of years.
It's
I've
a
been
film
buying
that
US,
the first
when
half I think is exceptional, and then it just descends
Falls
into
to
something
shit.
really. It's like it turns into the Toxic Avenger. It becomes this
Yeah.
really cruddy, Troma-esque kind of thing.
That interesting enough, there's 2 cuts of that film. Also, there's a US theatrical cut, which is the only version that's available in high definition, and then there's the European theatrical cut, which has Adrienne Barbeau's boobies.
That's the one I've seen.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I think that's the one we got on video here.
Yeah,
funnily enough,
makes
but
sense.
as for the DVD, no. But the funny thing is, apparently when the DVD was first released in the US, they actually released the European cut with the PG rating and the tits in it.
Love it.
I had to do a recall, so it's quite collectible, apparently. But yeah,
But I don't think we ever got to
good
see. I don't think we got to see Heather Locklear's Norks in part 2.
No, God, Return or something.
Yeah, that was a
that
PG.
shit.
But that played for the schlock, whereas the first
Oh
one
yeah, it was
trying
so
to be
over the
really
top
serious.
schlock. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do Swamp Thing. That'd be DC Comics, I think it is.
Yes.
Interested to see if they try and reboot that and make that into a new film now that every comic book's being made under the sun.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Do you know which one I really liked and thought was undervalued, but I can understand it being so poorly received, was Man-Thing.
Is that the based on a Stan Lee comic book?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen the film. I know about it. Yeah.
Lawnmower Man.
Hang on, the guy that directed Lawnmower Man.
Yeah,
one
Brett Leonard.
was-
And he did the Highlander 5, which was my guilty pleasure a few weeks
Oh,
ago.
yes, the one no one's ever heard of.
That's right. All they've heard of,
Yeah.
they hated it with a passion.
Right.
He did Virtuosity with Russell Crowe.
I liked Virtuosity.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And he directed Feed, which was the one about the...
Is it the literally feeding the fatties?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've actually heard pretty good things about it.
and he's...
Has that got Rebel Wilson in it? Well, someone's been fucking feeding that. I'm sorry. I did have to go there.
But Brett Leonard is best friends with Jack Thompson's son.
Right.
And they did Feed and Man Thing together sort of back to back.
Was Jack Thompson in Man Thing?
Yeah.
Fucking
Playing
hell.
an American sheriff.
He was real hungry.
Yeah.
It was 2-minute noodles that week, or
Yeah.
do man thing, and
Actually,
Yes, they-
Feed, the lead actor in Feed at the time was a no-name actor, and he went on to become a bit of a Hollywood star. I know he was in the,
Okay.
I think he was in Miami Vice, that redo. Is that the name? Was it
Miami
Miami
Vice?
Vice? No, what was the Hawaii Five-0, they did that redo.
Oh, the television series, yeah,
With
with
Scott
Scott Kane.
Yeah, I think the other guy is an Aussie who was in Feed.
Right, okay, alright.
I don't remember his name.
Now, I was going to mention that scene with AJ and Langer in the bathtub there. Apparently, that was the first day of shooting for her, and she was terrified because she actually had to look terrified in front of Wes Craven. Because obviously, had seen a lot more women terrified in previous films, and the bath apparently was more not boiling.
Well, look,
more
I mean,
previous.
how scary is that? I mean, and that
Yeah.
being in that scene just a moment ago in the basement, that's just so terrifying. I mean, even the act, that can't be. That could be really unsettling for a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Snatched by a man in a bloody apron.
Absolutely. God, I love the people
Corey
on the stairs
Feldman.
and look
Corey
at them. They
Feldman.
look out, they look awesome. That's Corey and Corey's Angels.
Yeah.
One of them looks like a member of Slipknot.
So cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
They've all got torches. Or is that they matches?
No, they got their own torches. There's multiple torches there. Now, all these... Now, funnily enough, it reminds me of the Aussie movie, The Loved Ones. Because, you know, The Loved Ones, you've got all the former
Yeah.
could-have-been suitors
Yeah.
that are in the basement. And here you've got all the failed attempts at children, all the children that went bad that have been put under the stairs.
How funny was that? Come on.
I missed it. Sorry.
Sorry.
I was just too deep.
Roach was holding up
yeah.
the corpse. And
Oh, yeah, no, I
Kind
love
of
that
like
bit.
a puppet,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so funny. Because the kid looks
he's
terrified.
going,
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously I think, you know, the loved ones threw out a little bit of a...
Definitely. Homage.
Homage to the people on the stairs. Likewise, one we mentioned earlier, which
Oh,
we didn't
look,
mention
there's
on the
the furnace.
commentary, is Housebound. A
Yeah,
terrific New
I was
Zealand
wondering when that
film,
would come up.
Jared Johnson film.
I was leaving that one for you to bring
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah, I just thought I'd mention it then. So, and admittedly, he admitted, yes, you know, that this film did play
A big part.
a big part in influencing.
And if you've seen Housebound, you'll understand and the
Yeah, I've probably spoiled that one, but fuck it. Sorry, dudes.
No,
you should have seen it already.
Well, no, you haven't really.
No. But don't take Nick's advice on that one.
No.
That's just an in-joke. We'll keep that between Glenn and I. Not the lovely Dick Dale, though. I imagine I'd love to know if Dick Dale saw this movie. I reckon he would love this movie. I reckon he's seen it, but I reckon he's seen it and loved it. Actually, he messaged me today. I haven't got back to him because he wanted to know whether Saturday Night Fever would be considered a guilty pleasure. And I'm kind of like, no, because that's a good
It's
film.
a fucking amazing film.
It's not a guilty pleasure.
It's guilty because he's a punker and it's a disco film.
Well, yeah, there's that. But, I mean, as it is, the film itself is just a very good film.
It's an astonishing film. I actually watched
Is that, what's his name? The director. Badham?
No,
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 it's
no,
not
no,
him.
no. It's John Appleton,
John.
who did The Karate Kid and Rocky. And,
Right.
um,
Hang on. So, then... Where's my weird connection? So, who's the screenwriter, then?
oh,
Of the Saturday Night Fever?
sure, I know. But
That
I
might
know
be
that it was
weird
actually loosely a trauma film because Lloyd Kaufman was involved with some of the production there. With Rocky as well.
Yeah,
Because,
of course. Yes.
John Appleton began as a trauma director.
Yeah, okay.
All of these scenes in the duct are amazing.
Oh, yeah. I love a good duck sequence. Takes him back to Die Hard. Norman Wexler, screenwriter for Saturday Night.
Oh,
Fever.
right.
What a varied career that writer had. Raw Deal with
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Staying
Oh,
Alive,
no,
of course.
you were right. It was John Badham that did it.
Was, right.
It was.
Okay, yeah.
Why did I think it was John Appleton?
So John
I think he
Badham-
was attached at first and taken off the project. I'm going to look that up. You
What,
keep-
what
you
else
keep
did
talking.
what else did John Badham do? Like
Oh, did he do War Games?
yeah, with Benny Broderick.
Black Thunder?
Black Thunder, yeah. Was that Roy Schreider?
Yeah.
Yeah, Schneider.
Schreider.
Schreider. Schreider. Lamb chowder. Is it red or...
We're way off topic. People understand this comedy.
Yeah, it's good. But look, it's doing what it's doing, you know. I love that. So, I love saying that to my...
Oh, there you
my
go. John Badham did take over from Appleton.
Right. Battle of the Johns.
I digress.
Now I did fail because I was too caught in the Saturday Night Fever things. I think there was another allude to some sort of bizarre sort of sexual infatuation that he has with Alice. Not Fool, but Everett's character. Alden. He grabs at his groin and he missed it. It's always one of those sort of unsettling moments.
Yeah.
I think I picked it up like the second or third time.
But then
I watched it as a kid, and I went,
there's
"Was it weird?"
moments that make it very cool.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's just, you go, ooh.
Because sometimes the comedy does take over and you've got to remember how disturbing it is.
Oh, yeah.
Those little-
It's almost like there's no way this film could have been rated M had it not had elements of humour about it and come out. It would have been an R here in Australia back when there was only an M and an R, not an MA. Because, yeah, you've got to have... I think that's probably an important thing too. In the US, it's probably how got an R and didn't get an unrated, you know. And I think Wes Craven inherently is quite a funny guy. I mean, you know, not so much that he comes off like that in his interviews, but he does have obviously humour about his films.
Well, any good horror director will tell you that the best horror films have comedy because you've got to sort of leave the tension and
absolutely,
and build up some false sense of security before you throw some terror out.
You got to have a little bit of light just so the audience feel a little bit more calm.
I mean, how
hit them with the darkness again.
There's nothing better than a really good laugh in a horror film and then suddenly to be scared shitless because they caught you unaware.
Totally. And I think, the laughs, generally you get a good laugh in a horror film when you do deliver the joke because the audience is so ready for anything that's not going to fucking scare them.
That's right, it's a relief.
It's something. Oh, shit. Yeah. But yeah, where's his moments? So did you ever see, you would have seen, Hills Have Eyes 2?
Yeah.
They have like flashback sequences in it, and they have the dog's flashback sequence.
Oh,
like a dog's flashback
dog flashback.
No, it's a shit movie. It is. Every time I go back and watch it, there's not much point.
Which is quite weird, isn't it, too? Because the remake, the sequel to the remake, was terrible too.
Yeah, it was. Yes,
not the same as the original sequel, but
no, yeah, you're right. Spot on. It was.
But it's funny how both sequels are really bad.
Totally. I will revisit 2 again soon. The remake because I only watched it the one time.
That was written by Wes's son.
Oh, really?
Yeah, father and son job on that one.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Speaking of famous sons that get work, or what are they doing? Max Landis. Like, what's going on? Are we crying?
He was in the news the other week because he directed that music video that was accused of plagiarism.
Oh, what, the Shia LaBeouf one?
No. It was,
that
that there's that Australian band, I can't remember their name, and they tried to accuse One Direction of plagiarism. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, well then they've also recently accused this new video of being plagiarism, directed by Max Landis, and the music video itself was like a post-apocalyptic, 2 lovers at the end of the world.
Right.
And Max Landis came out and pretty much rolled them by saying, well, your video came after this one, and showed them another one that was exactly the same.
Well, that's cool.
So he put them in their place. So
he's
he's clearly doing music videos and all that kind of stuff. I think we interviewed him about a year and a half ago, and he did mention that there was a Chronicle 2 coming, but he was not involved. So
because I heard mixed things. I know that John had come out and said that what Max wanted to do was fairly dark and whatnot, and then Max had to come kind of say, "Shut up, Dad. This is my thing." Talk about it. But so he's not involved. That's a shame. I mean, the longer they wait to do this Chronicle sequel, those kids are getting older, and it's just not going to work. I mean, it was a mild hit. I think it was great. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but the movie was a mild hit when it came out. So releasing a sequel 4 years later,
I don't even know if they would continue with the same characters. To be honest with you.
Yeah. What they should do is just remake it.
Just look him up. He's got.
They should remake it, man. It's true.
Well, Max
Cabin
Landis
Fever style.
has a film in post-production he directed
Right.
called Me, Him, Her,
Okay.
which I did look up a while ago. It has Haley Joel Osment in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's making a series comeback.
Yeah, Gina Davis, Scott Bakula,
Scott Bakula,
Lance
cool.
Henriksen.
Fuck, yeah, that's a cast.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the film.
Cast of has-beens, but I'm still looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Do you think he feels guilty now? Because one of the last things he told that dog to do was fuck off.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Why
Yeah,
would
something
you
like
just
that, yeah.
shut the fuck up? Now he feels like a prick.
It's always very brave when filmmakers put mirrors in scenes like that.
Mm. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a dangerous line.
Doesn't need to be there, that mirror, but, just put it there.
Totally.
Could easily reflect anything.
I was going to mention earlier in regards to Sean Whalen and his character Roach. Apparently the makeup to do, the tongue thing, the distress sort of finger thing.
Yeah.
It's been about an hour and a half a day.
Wow.
Makeup for that, which isn't much when you think of.
No, but it's
some
only one
actors.
tiny piece of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, his makeup wasn't extensive. But the other thing I was going to mention about him too is that he chose to wear the prosthetic tongue at all times when he was playing the character on screen. Obviously, he didn't have to do it. He only had to do it in the shots where, he was...
It pokes it out.
Yeah, precisely. But there was a scene they were shooting, and when Eldon Father's character's shooting at him, apparently during one of the takes, he sort of yelled shit, and Wes had to kind of come over to him and say, "Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
I've got to remember, your tongue's cut out." So he said, "Well, I will wear it at all times."
There you
And
go.
so,
He didn't want to get in trouble.
No, yeah, totally. So yeah, he did it.
How about them gums?
Yeah, they're
He's
big.
got a set of gums and they are his own.
They are. They're big gums. A big gun guy. But I think that's obviously one of his things that make him so instantly recognisable in films. So I was saying to Glenn earlier, I saw him in Jersey Boys, one of Glenn's favourites of 2014. And as soon as he came on screen at the movies, I turned to my wife and I said, "Roach, it's Roach!" I was so excited. But I love the guy. Like, he's in That Thing You Do, and he's the overexcited fan.
He's been in a
He's in a
lot.
lot of stuff.
Definitely, he's got that look about him.
He does.
He can be a really good character actor because he's got the look.
Absolutely. And now, obviously, a lot of fanboys come filmmakers now are paying, homage to the filmmakers that came before him in the films, because he gets cast in a lot of stuff. Like Adam Green's Hatchet movies. He's in Hatchet 2 or Hatchet 3. And in one of Rob Zombie's Halloween movies, Halloween 2, I think.
Yep.
The infinitely better.
And we figured out
reboot.
earlier he's in
I'm
Jason
just
Trost.
joking.
Jason Trost's All Superheroes Must Die.
Right, yeah. And did you say he's in the first one too? The
I
Outcast
thought
or something?
he might be, but
Right.
I'm not 100%.
Now that's Bill Cobb, that actor there.
I know, isn't that
In
weird?
So many movies.
But leave
The
him right to the
Bodyguard.
end.
So many movies.
He died recently, didn't he?
I don't know,
I
actually.
think he may have, but don't hold me to that. This kid's not traumatized at all.
No, he's come out pretty good. He's got those gold coins. So
He leads a thug life.
there you go, the revelation. Wow. Serious plot twist.
Do you ever think he looks like a black Wes Craven?
Now you've said it, I'm trying to look at him. I don't know if I see it.
I do. The eyes.
He's got great eyes. Absolutely. Poor fool's mum. She's suffering.
Oh, dude, don't pity the fool.
Oh, I'm glad that's like the first time that one's come up. Like, that's pretty good. Did you be thinking that all?
No,
Yeah,
it just
good.
came to me.
I'm glad.
I did reference the A-Team earlier.
Very cool.
eyebrows deserve a movie.
They are big, aren't they?
Wendy Roby's were pretty incredible too.
Yeah, but they got that, real sort of stylized 50s look.
That is a cool shot.
That is cool.
That's like downtown LA.
Downtown LA, dude. Okay, close that door because the windows are broken. Maybe it's to automate the light.
Hello, police? I'd like to report a case of child abuse going on. Right now.
How's he hidden all those shotgun blasts throughout the house?
Now the house looks remarkably sterile.
Yeah, so much.
But out the exterior did.
I'm so sorry.
I love
Nice
watching.
tracking
I love
shot.
watching characters like all these cops because quite often they're future stars.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And then just in the tiniest
Photo
little
of the dog.
Yeah.
In memory.
Yeah, well, the shotgun blast through the hallway and that. Gimp necklace there. Or is it the dog's necklace? Look at that. See that firepower in there? It's like boxes and ammunition as well.
That
There you go,
guy's
he's
been in
smoking a
heaps.
pipe now.
That guy's been in heaps.
Yeah, looks like a bit of a character actor. Look, wait. I love that. Just
Yeah.
timing. Just perfect timing.
Yeah, that sergeant's been in heaps.
Yeah, but just like sort of bit parts.
Yeah, mostly. I think I saw it. He was the language lab director in The Exorcist.
The language lab director. No, don't recall. In fact, I was thinking of revisiting The Exorcist, or Exorcist 2, The Heretic.
Yeah,
I haven't done it
I
yet.
think that's a great film.
That's directed by John Borman,
Sure is.
who directed Deliverance, but never really many other great films. So he directed some really good films early in his
Merlin?
career.
No, Excalibur, I should say.
Yes, Excalibur. That
I think,
predated The
I
Exorcist.
think Borman's done
Heretic
some
movie.
great films, to be honest with you.
But it was all the early body
We can
stuff.
talk about that on the
yeah.
podcast.
No, we'll talk about it now.
Damn it! Yeah, but that sergeant's name is John Mahon, M-A-H-O-N. Is that how we pronounce it?
John Mahon.
Or Mahon? Mahon.
Mahone?
Armageddon.
Mahone? Mahoney.
LA Confidential, Armageddon, Zodiac. Boston Powers.
I've just got the music in my head thinking about a Sean Whalen interview. So right after, well actually the next film that Wes Craven would have directed after this would have been Vampire in Brooklyn. Because that would have
Yes, it
been
would.
94.
Yes.
And then shortly after, he would have got that sweet taste of Scream, which led to two
That
Scream films in a
sweet
row.
taste of Scream.
And then he got to do his first dramatic picture that he'd been dying to do, Music of the Heart, which is still unwatched on Blu-ray at home.
Which he quickly went right back to horror afterwards.
Went straight back to Scream 3. But yeah, Meryl Streep got an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for that. I haven't seen it, but the Australian DVD jacket for Music of the Heart on the back, it was released through Reel back then, probably still through Reel.
Yep.
Directed by Wes Crave. Didn't have an
no.
N. Wes Crave.
Wow. Well, no, after this film, he went and did New Nightmare.
Oh, New Nightmare, sorry, would have been 94, then 95
Yeah.
would have been Vampire in Brooklyn.
And
Yeah,
that's right,
of course. I saw New Nightmare in the movies too.
Same here.
Yeah, that was good.
I remember seeing David and Margaret review it, and they gave it 4 stars on the movie show.
Fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah, they loved it.
Good on them. That's good.
And it came around the same time, maybe as Demon Knight, which they
Yeah, it was.
also
Yeah,
gave
totally.
like 3.5, 4 stars too.
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
were really
that's
in the horror frame of mind back then.
That was a good period in time. This genre
Yeah.
stuff was getting released at the movies, and it was a
Good fantasy horror too. Not
fantasy
just,
horror too, and not stuff that's held back or anything. Like it wasn't trying to appeal for teens. And
There
that.
wasn't torture porn.
But, you know,
it was just
yeah,
like good
yeah.
old fashioned.
Totally
Spooky
had the scares,
monster
had the the good prosthetic makeup.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, New Nightmare has aged quite significantly, but it's still
It's still
pretty
good. The story
great
itself's really clever.
Yeah.
Like the writing's very
Yeah,
clever.
film. It is. It's the only way he could think to do anything with the franchise.
It's a good way of ending it. Until the incredibly good reboot.
I knew you were going to say that. Fuck off with that shit.
Oh, that's so
Did you just say, oh, it's so good?
good. Yeah.
Oh, man. You just lost a few followers.
Yeah. I encourage people to revisit it.
I don't.
Totally. Do it.
Don't.
Owe it to yourselves. Oh, good eye gouging.
Fuck ass bitch.
Yes. Oh,
Stab him!
that's what I'm totally thinking. Like, plow that thing into him.
Uh,
So, what's your least favourite Wes Craven film
oh,
that he's
probably,
directed?
probably My Soul's Attack.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably say.
Although I didn't really like that Summer of Fear one he did with Linda Blair, but that's
a
early
period. It was
yeah.
made for TV.
I think that came after Nightmare.
No, that was before.
Was
it was released later, I think. There's Invitation to Hell and there's Summer of Fear. Don't they both have Linda Blair in it? They both have Linda Blair?
Oh, they might.
What year are we looking at for these things? I was thinking late 70s, early 80s for one or the other. I can't remember which one's which, though.
Was it called Stranger in the House in America?
Yeah.
Yeah, 78.
Show me, click on that one so we can have a look at this slick.
I think that is the one.
Summer of Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, Summer of Fear. And then the other one was
He did
Invitation
Chills
to
as
Hell.
well.
Actually, Invitation Hell is the one with the country club where they're all
Ah,
fucking,
right,
and
yeah.
Summer of Fear is the one with the horse riding.
Yeah,
and
that's
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind them. They're okay. They're very TV movie. Yeah, it's like Chiller. Chiller was like a TV movie too, so
Yeah.
I don't really can think of it that much. One of the stranger, more out there ones of Wes Craven's that I really liked as a kid, and I don't think it's dated too well, but it's still a very fun watch, and emphasis on the fun's Deadly Friend. With the robot,
Yeah.
with Christy Swanson and the robot, and the old bitch from Throw Mama Off the Train in Goonies.
Oh, Anne Ramsey, I think her name is.
Right.
I loved her. I'm just looking here. Wes Craven had a 1975 porno film by the looks of it.
Right.
The Fireworks Woman, rated X. He directed it under the name of Abe Snake.
Ape Snake, yeah.
Abe Snake.
I didn't hear about that one.
Listed as an adult film. X rating.
Right.
78 minutes long. Cool. Didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that at all. I've never heard anything of it. That's interesting.
Apparently it was referenced in the Video Nasties Moral Panic Censorship and Videotapes compilation. So maybe it was adult
Right,
in terms of just the X rating.
Yeah,
It was a
okay.
short film,
But yeah, that's weird. I've never heard of it.
which came after Last House on the Left.
Mm. Well, I know that there was a period in time between Last House and Left, and what was the next picture after Last House? Hills of Eyes.
Well, Fireworks
Well,
Woman.
Fireworks
then
Woman, yeah.
Hills Have Eyes, yeah.
They had a lot of trouble trying to get up another film, and he basically did Hills of Eyes because he was just about destitute, broke. So it was forced to sort of do it, and so yeah, he wrote and directed and fucking I think sometimes that's the thing. Some great art can come of being, basically
Desperate and-
forced and
yeah.
desperate and being in that predicament, not comfortable. And some of your best stuff can come.
He was always uncomfortable about Last House on the Left itself, so I think
he
he's
still is
probably
to a degree, yeah.
I think he was really hesitant to return to horror, but
Yeah.
that was pretty
Well, that's it.
desperate.
It was pretty much the reason that Sean S. Cunningham and he made the movie.
Yeah.
Was to make money because that's what made money. Horror movies were making money.
Yeah.
They knew they could do it cheaply.
It was
This
an
and that.
easy thing to do.
Totally, and I mean it's got a very very documentary vibe about the way it's shot. A lot of handheld use and that. And that's part of it was inspiration because Wes Craven had been cutting trailers and helping edit with Sean on a few projects, and they were working in editing suites opposite filmmakers that were cutting docos at the time. The filmmakers that did the Dylan doco, Don't Look Back. Is it D?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, D. Sweeney, Steve B. Sweeney. No, yeah, I can't think. That just reminded me of the C. Thomas Howell film with D.W.B. Sweeney. What was her name? That girl, The Cutting Edge. You ever see that one? The ice skating one.
Look at that.
Ice
Put a
skating
kid on
romance. What a top-notch film.
That was cool.
I didn't see the sequel.
You wonder how close to an edge they were there.
Well, looking at the shot again, it looks like it's a live.
Looks legit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look like the green screened it. Not matted. Oh, this is fucked up. This bit, I always found it quite hard to watch. It's all good now, but she definitely wears the pants. But he's trying to put her in her place. Awful. Look at those pearls.
Awesome.
That would do some fucking damage. Look how excited she looks. Alice looks stoked.
I love that when evil people do that in movies. They've been inflicting pain and terror on people for the whole time, and then something turns on them, and it's like, you
Yeah,
bastard!
totally, exactly. Why us?
Yeah. You just wouldn't shove a gun in a kid's face in a movie these days.
No, God no.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, do it.
You also wouldn't have a kid shove his fingers up nostrils these days. Mind you, they wouldn't be kids with soul glow either these days.
Not unless it's a period set film.
Yeah, maybe they'll do that in Barbershop 3.
God help us all.
That's the thing,
The barbershop movies. The
Number
third one's
3
gonna
is
happen.
just being greenlit.
Dude. Does that mean we'll see a beauty shop too as well?
I hope not. I really hope not.
Pretty sure I watched both barbershop movies.
I love the first one. It was fantastic.
This one was good. I think I didn't watch was it Beauty Shop or Beauty Spot?
Beauty Shop with Kevin Bacon and Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah.
That was a spin-off because she was in part 2.
Yeah. The movies that had to happen.
There's another one called Beauty Salon, which was loosely connected as well.
I didn't see that one.
Much more of a direct-to-video thing.
Right.
It's quite hilarious that we're talking about Beauty Shop while watching
People on the
people
stairs.
on the stairs. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it?
That's it. Guaranteeing 24 years after Beauty Shop or Barbershop have been released, no one will be talking about. There'll be no fan commentaries for them.
No.
I don't imagine. Maybe.
Well, we'll have to do one.
Yeah, well, now.
We will get him out of our house.
Now, I'll mention that this film is actually, by the time that people are listening to this, probably about it's coming out in April through Umbrella in Australia. It's already out in the US through Universal. It's out in the UK through Arrow, so if you're anywhere in the world, you should be able to get a hold of a copy of People Under the Stairs. And you can hear us, well, you can hear us now talking about it, but you can actually see what we're talking about.
Yeah. But look, if you
But if you're only
copy-
finding this out
No,
now,
if you already
there's a
have
good chance
it,
to spoil most of the movie for you.
they probably have it on DVD already.
Well, yeah, it's
Most
available
people are
on
probably watching
DVD. Yeah, but it's worthy of an upgrade. I mean,
It is. It
the
looks
transfer
gorgeous.
universe
We
is
are watching the Blu-ray. It's
phenomenal. It does look beautiful.
Yeah, something struck me too with her character. Very. I wonder if there's a lot of what's the word? Sort of references to. Do you know that film they did, The Girl Next Door, which was based on the true crime?
Oh, the Jack
Ketchum's.
Yeah.
But there's also another version of it, All American something with Catherine Keener playing the character.
Yes, and was it what's her name as the girl? Ellen Page.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
one-
I don't
and they
know,
put
but
cigarettes out on her and that.
yeah, I think that's the one. But
And
that
they shove a glass bottle in her vagina at one
Yes.
point. That's
yes.
fucked up.
But that story, there's a lot of that in here with her because her character's very similar.
Yeah,
Wendy
yeah,
Rose's
absolutely.
character's similar to that.
You always thought that was also a little bit flowers in the attic, like it's all like about, the child that, don't let anyone know about them. Yeah, that was some messed up stuff.
Definitely.
And All American Crime or
That was
something.
it, yeah, I think
Something
that's
like
the name
that.
of it.
Yeah. Or American Crime, yeah, that was some messed up stuff.
That's cool.
That's good.
Shoulder pads.
A big thing in the throughout the 80s and early 90s. It's weird, you don't see that shit anymore. Do you? The shoulder pads.
My name is Ruth Williams, and I represent the Association of People Who've been unjustly evicted, exploited, and generally fucked. What? We're the landlords of over 50 buildings in the city, all of which you will have to...
She's got eyebrows on the side of her head. Did you notice that?
Well, you got the rich trying to be...
This one, yeah.
You evicted them, and then they can't pay rent, so you can tear down their home and build some more office buildings. Ain't that about right? You goddamn bastard! Kill the little bugger!
You don't hear bugger very often in American
Not an
films.
American
The only
films,
other film
no.
I remember it in was The Mighty Wind when Catherine
Yeah.
O'Hara says, mean little bugger.
And that's fitting because of the character's origins, yeah?
And she's Irish.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, it's kind of a phrase that's completely lost. It's funny though because you hear it in the context in a British film and you always think of buggery or something like that.
You've
but
been
here,
buggered and
we're
you're like,
so,
jaws hit the ground.
Yeah.
I think I said it once when I was in Canada and didn't get the response I was looking for.
Not only are you bad landlords, but 10 times worse. You stole the children from our community for your own sick needs.
I was going through the Fangoria cover-to-cover book this week, and we did a video on it on the YouTube. But there was an issue, obviously, of Fangoria that had the people under the stairs on the cover, and the way it was sort of presented, they showed one of the people under the stairs, and you're like, it's just, yeah, it's a an element to sell the film, but it's just such a small element. Like you don't really even see much of them. You know? Imagine that. Imagine seeing that shit. She's falling through the fucking roof. Just bang!
And there was a weird, did you see that they
Sped the footage up. They've done it a
up.
few times
Yeah.
in the chimney, and
Yeah.
I noticed it once or twice. The old sped up shots.
That guy can be a rock star.
Yeah, totally. He's like the Jim Morrison or Kurt Cobain fucking person under the stairs.
that a pelvis?
I saw a skull, yeah, I didn't see the other. I saw some sort of bone-like thing. This is the thing I don't understand, which leads to the finale of the film. These people under the stairs getting out of the house, but they just get out and then left to wander.
What
streets of
now?
Los Angeles. Like, literally, what now? Then all they've known really is living under the house.
Well,
this entire time.
that is the
They
official
can't
sequel,
speak.
People Under the Bridge.
Yeah, totally. Like, what kind of members of society are they going to be? They don't know what to do. And they got a taste for human flesh. They're like cannibals out in the loose.
The implications are terrifying.
Terrifying. Yeah, you feel sorry for them. Yeah, they've been
Fucking
hard
more.
done by, but no.
Oh, fuck
I don't
that.
want them wandering
Kill
the
the
streets.
bastards.
Maybe just put them somewhere safe, like in a little sanitarium or something.
Stick them in a home with Happy Gilmore's man.
Yes. Can I trouble you for a cold glass of water?
You can trouble me for a glass of shut the
Shut
hell up.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah, I always think about the implication of those guys getting out. And then you
Yeah.
see them in the finale just sort of walking out, as if, and the way they walk out, they're sort of sneaking out, kind of like, anyone noticing
Isn't
this?
it
The
off
fuck
into the
no one's
horizon,
noticing
like
us, and, you know.
the crest of a hill or something like that?
Well, no, they come toward the camera, but the rest of the
Right, yeah.
neighborhood are like grabbing
Been
cash,
a
and
while.
it's, because
Right.
the house exploded and money's gone everywhere. Yeah, I was like, fucking what? What are they doing? And I think it's one of those things, I didn't pick up the first maybe a couple times watched as a kid, but then, reason sets in and like, that's not a good idea. Oh well.
Oh, that was a terrible piece of ADR there.
Totally. I like that we've both gone soft because it's like a very tense moment in the movie, and we're just like both of us just staring at the screen, we've obviously been.
I'm not even
conscious
trying
and not,
I'm not even trying to think of something to say. I'm just
No, I'm
completely
not.
engrossed
Just
in the
caught up
film.
with the movie.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I like the choice of composition for these particular shots too. Like
Yeah.
nice angles.
Angle the colour.
This really reminds like Suspiria, like the colour.
Yeah,
and
colour
that
scheme,
whole
yeah.
bit at the end of Suspiria.
There's always something terrifying about a knife wielding maniac.
Totally.
That door is really flimsy, man.
Yeah, I know. Fucking
Balsa wood.
Get that shit down.
Soundproof my ass.
Exactly. Gee, yeah, he's so fucking terrified. Just like the stairwell, dude.
People on the stairs, bitch.
That. Man.
That's intense.
He looks so happy too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, all those years you could have done that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's the one from Slipknot.
Leatherface.
Yeah, he's wearing like a face mask.
It's like the end of Thriller.
Yeah. Bitches be crazy.
Hey, look, it's the dude from bloody Burbs. He's got long hair.
Yes, yeah, what's his name again? Courtney Gaines.
Courtney Gaines, that's right.
Yeah, so look at that, dude. You got yourself a fucking early 90s grunge band there.
Yeah.
Seattle.
It's a Soundgarden.
Yeah,
That's a
very
sweet,
cool.
sweet moment.
I like the one from there, the cover, like the thing at the top. I love that. See that?
Yes.
Depth of focus, like the
Yeah, cool.
physically,
Pulling focus,
physically,
yeah.
pulling focus as you're tracking back, like Jaws, Roy Schreider.
Remember in film
shot.
school, always do that shot if you want it to look really skilled.
It's a cool shot.
It's
yeah.
a cool shot, but it's so
It's
easy to achieve, you
Oh,
know?
totally.
But we always do it, you
It
know?
doesn't
'cause-
really have a name either. Like people used
It
to refer
does.
to it as a moose.
No, it has a name.
It's like zoom out.
It's not forced perspective.
No, that's what you think it. That
Yeah.
forced perspective because it plays with the depth of field.
Yeah.
But I don't think that shot actually has. No one's coined a name for it unless it has an industry name.
It has to be, because you're a cinematographer.
It's Roy Schreider.
You can't say to him, like,
Well, they do it in Lord of the Rings
I want
too,
that
you know.
shot where they pull the camera back, but it
No,
kind
they
of
just
looks
go
weird.
Jaws.
Yeah.
Roy Schreider sitting by the beach. You know, suddenly the kids are in the water, and he's like, "What?
And I want the music to go.
They're in the boat, playing in the boat." Yeah. Weird in the background. It's like a strange laboratory. with
He's
things,
looking,
you know.
He's looking very 50 Shades of Grey right now.
Totally.
Craven did it first.
He was here. I like that. It's a cool move.
It is. Behind you.
Which is a pretty ballsy attempt by Fool, this next move.
Wouldn't happen. If he got shot, he'd drop that mother.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
Notice that blood has not shifted on his face for like half an hour. Still as red and fluoro as it was before. It'd be in his eyes by now and he'd be squinting.
Totally. Congeal a bit on his brow, but I mean, that's just a sharp movement on his brow.
Put the gun down now, or kiss your ass goodbye, boy.
The explosion that he gives off is a bit crazy. Like, it's just relentless. Like,
That's movie,
which
man.
Moves, it's
That's
magic.
movie magic.
It's movie magic. That's just a
Mo
suspension of
money
disbelief.
magic.
Mo money, mo money.
You couldn't have said that whiter.
I'm the white Damon Wayans.
And it's a banana in together.
And watch these crazies when they get out. So much cash. So much cash.
You okay? Feel like $1 million.
Probably the film's worst line.
Totally. But look, see? The
I know,
people
little
that seems
smirk.
happy. Now watch them. You'll see them sneak out. I love that. I love that high five. Did you see that high five?
I missed it.
It's two dudes just do a high five. It's awesome. It's like,
High five.
they're like, yeah, everyone's getting some cash area.
I remember this.
He's like, this is fucking cool.
No one's looking at his face going,
No.
what the fuck?
To people, it's preoccupied getting that cash and high fiving. give a fuck.
Money means
So there you go. Look, there's one out there.
Here
Here comes the other one. Yeah, he's out too.
McDonald's.
He's tired of eating human flesh. So that's it, dude. That's the end of the movie, The People Under the Stairs.
Wow. What a movie. It's so cool.
Very cool movie, man. Very cool movie.
And all these years, I knew that Ving Rhames was in it, but I forgot until tonight, that he was in it for as much as he was.
Yeah, no, totally. I think when I picked it up on when it first came out in DVD, maybe in Australia, probably about 2001, 2002, picked it up on DVD and I watched it for the first time in years and it's like, fuck, Marcellus Wallace.
Well, when you watched Pulp
Holy
Fiction for
shit.
the first time, did you connect him to this? I did.
Nah, totally not.
Yeah, no, same.
No way. No way at all. Like, I mean, he was in so many movies, Ving Rhames, but, I'd never picked up on it. He was really a character actor, I think, till he did Pulp Fiction. It really broke him, and then he started getting, roles. And he actually started getting them real. I mean, he's a nice enough guy in this, but he was a criminal.
Yeah.
But he started getting, the likeable sort of heavy role.
And remember he did Dawn of the Dead, but he then went and did The Day of the Dead. He was really into that stuff.
Yeah, totally. Jeez, that Day of the Dead was a piece of shit. That remake.
Steve Miner.
Yeah, what the fuck happened to Steve Miner? Like, no idea.
Texas Rangers, baby.
What a strange dude. Did he do the Texas Rangers movie?
Yeah.
Was that James Vanderbeek?
Yeah.
Shit.
And
What a
Dermot,
character.
not Dermot Mulroney, Dylan McDermott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
a pretty big
like
cast.
it. I like
yeah.
that one.
Yeah. Just odd that I wouldn't have picked Steve Miner as
Yeah.
having done it.
So what else? Have you got anything else to add?
No, look, sir, I think I've said more than enough in the last 90-odd minutes. There you go, K&B. Nico Toro, Robert Kurtzman, Howard Berger.
I've been scanning through trying to find some names that might be surprising, but
Yeah,
Birds and
no.
Animals Unlimited.
There's not even really any funny names in these credits.
Well, Dick is pretty funny.
Dick Bernstein, yeah. But no, I've got nothing further to add than it's a cool film. Like it's good. It's like when the studios were still making genre films, not just for fucking teenagers. They were making genre films for horror fans and then for film people, like anyone that likes an entertaining film.
And it held up really well. I don't think it's that poorly dated at all.
No, not at all.
And given that they've given it that 1950s kind of look, it sort of will hold up for years to come.
Absolutely, yeah. There's nothing really tying to the period too badly.
Do the right thing.
Yes, it's something to listen to right now.
Yeah. Alright, well, we should wrap it up. The film credits are getting ready to mosey on out.
And I'm sure you're wanting a toilet break.
No, I'm good,
Oh,
man.
no, I was talking about the good people that have been listening.
Oh,
Because they didn't
right.
want to pause, they didn't want to stop this freight train of awesome.
And they'd have to sort of pause two things at the one
Exactly,
time.
it's fucking
It's
difficult.
so too much work.
Too much. But we're going to do another one of these sooner or later.
Definitely will. It may or may not be horror. Horror seems to be a good one to do because it's
Totally.
fun.
Absolutely.
But hey, that's pretty much it from us. Please tune into our podcast, fakeshit.net. And that's me out for this evening. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
I was like, oh, does he want me to say something then there? Because he's like, from me. And I'm like, oh, he said from me, not from us. I'm like, maybe
I
I
was
can say
waiting for you to
bye.
jump in.